Bitcoin and the altcoin market is in the perfect setup for absolute mega pump breakouts to the upside. So many people are worried right now, and we have the best setup in history after the executive orders and everything that was discussed yesterday. Front and center. Crypto is front and center on the world stage. What should you be expecting? What are the crypto signals? What things should we be paying attention to before this market runs away from us? Yes, it feels a little frustrating. It's not just going straight up and to the right, but these setups are bar none the best, most bullish setups we have ever seen in this market. Will we get a dip? Well, let's pay attention to what the data says, because we've got some key signals that are flashing right now, giving us insight as to what is to come, what's going on. We're going to be breaking this down here momentarily. So everybody, let's get ready, get involved, get active in the live chat here on Twitter and on YouTube. We are dual streaming, of course, on both. But as we get this set up, I'm getting this retweeted out. Head over to the @Kellam page or @Academy BitLab and get this posted out to your friends and family. We're going to be a little bit short today, but that's okay. We're starting just a little bit early to make up for a little bit of it. But while we get into this, everybody throw a 1 in chat if you are ready to dive in. I want to see who's here. I want to see who's paying attention. Let's get active. If you're on Twitter, expand that video. Start typing in there, share something. If you're a BitLab member here on the YouTube, drop some emojis. Let's get into it. Let's talk about what's going on. The Bitcoin and crypto market is setting up for something that, we've been waiting on for 16 years since Bitcoin was absolutely released and rolled out. We have front and center on the world stage, not only at Davos, but here in our own government with the new administration. And it doesn't matter if you like the politics or not of the new administration. When we're looking at what's going on within the crypto market, this is the talking point of what is happening, what is rolling out into our future. We saw Trump yesterday speaking to the world at the World Economic Forum, essentially there at Davos, saying that the U.S. will be the manufacturing hub capital of the world, as well as for AI and crypto. So what does that mean? Because when we dive in here and we look at the price action, it's almost like people were expecting something different yesterday. It had to be the strategic Bitcoin reserve, and it wasn't outlined specifically. So what the heck? And we saw chop up and down from the Cynthia Loomis tweet to, oh my God, she just got it, took the role. She got voted in as the chair of the Digital Asset Committee. But then we got the pump about the potential executive orders about crypto. And then it was we need to let the chart do the work. We are in the most bullish setup that we've ever had, ever, with the backing of the US government that is going to set the tone for the world stage and other governments globally about what is to come. We're going to go over this and talk about what's going on in this price action, because this is a beautiful setup. Again, even with the dip, I hope it dips. I hope it dips and gives us that opportunity for prices below where it's at right now. Maybe it happens over the weekend. Maybe it happens next week. In fact, it may never come, because of the understanding from those of us that are paying attention, and it's all of you as well, that this is a formula for higher and longer. Potentially, somebody even suggests this idea that is essentially an unlimited upside, but that does not mean up only. We've got a lot of room for both chop up and down, and any chop to the downside right now ultimately is an incredible opportunity. When we come back over here and we look at what's going on in the market, we realize 3.64 trillion, Bitcoin 2.1 trillion, Ethereum back over 408. I think Ethereum's about to get its day in the sun. Everybody, it's like max FUD right now, because whatever freaking reason, I do think this is going to blow people's minds. XRP kind of questionable right now with people's idea about what the CBDC means. We see Solana, $128 billion. BNB, just under $100 billion. This is kind of widening the gap here. Dogecoin, $53 billion. Cardano, $34 billion, almost $35 billion. The market is looking great. The setup is here. Let's talk about it. First up, we're going to go through this very quickly. We're going to get in some TA because we got to wrap this by noon. But let's look at this. After Trump's executive order on Thursday, Here are some quick comments on the Bitcoin strategic reserve and what to watch for next. In fact, I think this is incredibly bullish how they laid it out. Even though they didn't do an executive order on a strategic Bitcoin reserve, I think it's just a game of politics, and it will ultimately be better for the crypto market than not. The fact that there is a bill already in place that Cynthia Lummis wrote, it is better that we have the Senate and Congress vote on this and vote it in, showing essentially the congressional and Senate sort of support of this, because then it's not a 4-year thing, which is what an executive order would be, which could be repealed. If this is voted into law, that would ultimately be way more bullish. The executive order yesterday laid out that we are going to basically have it on front and center, the agenda about what digital assets, what the relationship with the US government is going to be with them. Front and center for what the regulation is going to be outlined. Releasing this idea of Operation Choke Point 2.0. All of this is laid out in here. I'm just trying to go through this very quickly. But in addition to that, it really outlines that we're not going to sell anything, right? We're not going to sell anything. And when we get the bill to a vote, then we can really start, this expectation of the stacking. But even the discussion yesterday puts it front and center on the world stage for governments to have meaningful conversations about what their approach is going to be with the digital asset space. Now, I hope we get a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Do I want a digital asset reserve as well? Maybe that's not needed. We'll have to see about what's going on. But the point here is that we are opening these capital channels, turning on risk. In fact, we had an all-time high yesterday for the stock market. We're going to talk about what's going on in this market right now. So everybody, as you filter in here, my name's Kellam. Welcome to the BitLab Academy stream. We're about to break it down, make sure we can help keep you on the right side of the trend. Let's dive into it. Everybody, hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button, ding the bell. If you're watching over on Twitter, make sure you're, right here. Make sure you're hitting that retweet, hitting that button. But remember, when you pull this up mainstream like this, I can see all your chats. Say, what's up, fam? All you folks, when you chat in there, I can see it. Let's all make sure that this is a community. Now let's get into it. We got some things to talk about. Let's talk about them. I'm going to pull that up right there. And again, make sure you're following me here at Kellam and also the at Academy BitLab. Now, continuing on, what do we got? We see the SAB. This you guys do not understand how bullish this is. This is hyper bullish for what's going on in this market. SAB 121 has been rescinding, which ultimately will lead to allowing banks to custody Bitcoin. This cannot be overstated how important this is. You'll soon be able to borrow against your Bitcoin and get paid interest on it. Rather than it just being Coinbase or these other crypto exchanges, banks are going to be able to custody as well, which is only going to substantiate, further push the positive pressures within the lobbying arms and everything going on within Congress and the political sphere, because now banks can profit on the digital asset space as well. That's one aspect of it. But the other aspect of it is this right here. Let's listen right here to Eric Weiss, what he has to say.
And now we're hearing, which I've heard a couple times now in backroom conversations, that day one SAB 121 is going away. And that is a major catalyst for Bitcoin. I think that Bitcoin can probably get to 500,000 on its own without SAB 121 going away, but it's SAB 121 going away that really makes the upside unlimited, because you really do need to be able to borrow against your Bitcoin and not have to sell it to do the things you want to do in life in order for this asset to really explode. If perfect analogy would be homes, right? Like, what would home prices be if you couldn't get a mortgage against them?
Do you understand how bullish this is? We're getting one of the largest conglomerates and institutional pressures out there that has had its foot on the neck of digital assets up until this point, but now the cat is out of the bag. You cannot put digital assets back in the box. Now banks can also, along with the Bitcoin strategic reserves with the BlackRock, Fidelity, and the other 11 Bitcoin spot ETFs here, spot ETFs that we have here in the US, among the ETFs around the world, we now have banks that can build Bitcoin and other digital asset products that only will lead to them pushing more positive wording and just marketing materials and awareness out there. In fact, not only that, the reason why this is so important is because now you can buy digital assets, and rather than having to take a taxable event to take money out, so because you have to pay for a car loan or for a wedding or for life or medical bills, or maybe even buy more crypto or buy a house, now you can take a loan against your asset, which makes that prevents you from basically selling on market, right? So you're removing an enormous amount of sell pressure, especially at potential cycle tops, as we've seen previously, but also you're making this more of an international financial instrument beyond just everybody hope for it to be a store of value or a currency. This changes the paradigm completely, not only with having governments that are backing and participating in this, but now individuals can use these financial assets as a mechanism within their life without having to always look to sell pressure from trying to pull money out to use it in their real life. This changes dramatically what the landscape is moving forward. I think we all need to celebrate what this means for price action. In fact, if we do see a price action move down from where we're at right here, it is the biggest screaming buy we've ever seen. Now, does that mean you buy here, 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 here? Well, that's also a reason why you always leave money on the sidelines, so you can basically ladder in your entries, because there's no telling. Maybe we just travel sideways here for a week or two as people process this, as the market makers still and the big money players still use every mechanism they can to fudge you out of taking advantage of this and selling where we're at right now in the most bullish framework we've ever had for these assets. Guys, this is astronomically bullish for what is coming in this market. And then we look at the data. Look at this. Ready for the inflection. Look at these metrics. Back here, boom, we came down right into the zone. This is also, yes, we had a bullish push into this, but it was this inflection point that sent the market. Okay, yes, we had the downside. Yes, we had a bullish price action into this, but look at this, kind of hidden bullish divergence on these two metrics. But right at this inflection, that is where we really, truly started to ascend. Okay, boom, same thing. We had bullish price action into this, and now it's speculated. We saw some data from Crypto Quant yesterday that there is a potential that this sort of big run up and the sell-off here, this very likely could have been, again, I'm going to say could have been, from China selling those 190,000 Bitcoin that they're perceived to have, based on what you see on chain with the amount of wallet activity and what was going on at this level, which would explain this bullish action and then this very large sell-off, so almost like a mini bull market, bear market. But ignoring this deviation to the upside, we had upward higher lows throughout this, right? And this is the inflection point. Look at this, the setup for the higher prices. Now we have price action moving up again. And this is where we're getting the inflection. Boom. Are we about to see higher prices in the face of all the bullish structure that has been built in the last year, basically since January 11th of last year? I mean, really, let's be honest, since January 2009, but specifically the bullish framework of the international acceptance between banking cartels, the top asset managers globally, and governments. And we have the data on charts showing that the pressures underlying in this asset are suggesting up and away. And what the hell are you doing if you're selling? I mean, you're just being a jackass at this point with all the data that suggests prices higher soon. And then we look at this chart from Stock Money Lizards, and special shout out to Stock Money Lizards. They just hit 150,000, right at 150,000 followers. We've been kind of friends in the space and working together, doing different content over the last couple of years. Big love to them. And I share their charts here on a regular basis. So shout out there. Here's another chart outlining the same thing. We had the rise up into the previous all-time high, a little bit of a consolidation there, boom. And then the launch, we had a little bit of basically the stair-step consolidation before liftoff. Same thing we had here. Now, this was a bit under the previous all-time high. However, we had a pretty big move up into the golden pocket here, sideways, kind of downward consolidation, breakout, retest, launch. You can kind of see the same thing happened here, but this is that zone right here. Now, there's a little bit of difference here because this is a bit above previous all-time high, but we're having different market dynamics too with how much money printing has happened, and also if you just, I don't want to say ignore, if you look at the price structures, ignoring where the previous all-time highs were, a run up, the sort of descending accumulation kind of consolidation here, same thing, run up, descending accumulation consolidation here, breakout, pause to the next breakout, breakout, pause to the next breakout. And that 4.618 on this measurement would be about $300,000. Will we get there? We'll have to see this. We're going to play it on a daily basis, look at these markets to see what is going on, and we'll make sure that we can make sure to harvest as many profits as possible in this market without taking on too much risk. Shout out to everybody's here. We got Sack Nasty, Tater, Alexandra G, special shout out to you, Bruce K. Got a little bit smaller crew today, probably because I started earlier, but Big Tip Shark, Tony Digital, Renegade Designers, Pisces, what's up? I'm a Pisces. Birthday, my 41st is coming up soon. One House Productions, big love to everybody that is here. Got about 400 or 500 people in the room. We got to look at this data because there's more signals here. There's so much bullishness in this market. It does make me want to hedge myself with making sure there's some capital on the sidelines to buy if we dip, but no dip is going to make me bearish here. It's an opportunity. Excuse me. I just said the word bearish or dip and it made me sneeze because this is so bullish. Jose Mato, what's up? And then we got this from On-Chain College. Met this gentleman. I've known him for a few years in the space, but we met also in person at the Bitcoin conference. Wonderful guy. Really is a wonderful guy. Always great data here. And here, we don't need to go through all this, but basically he broke down some metrics here. And this outlines where we've had previous tops. And we had some deviations beyond where this was, but this shows you sort of, it's kind of, I don't want to say a minimum, but roughly a simple top target. And this is showing right here, $181,000. So this is kind of in line with what I'm thinking. Somewhere between about $175 and $300,000 to me seems like a reasonable top this cycle. Now, could we go to 500? Sure. Am I going to hold once we're above like 380? I'm holding on for 500. Hell no. We're going to start laddering out at certain key points in this market. One, based on time, where we're at in the cycle this year, but also some of the other metrics that we look at here. And we break it all down in BitLab Academy, one of the courses there, using on-chain data and also the sort of cycle probabilities of how you can identify tops and bottoms. But this is beautiful. This is kind of outlines very simply. $181,000 seems not only reasonable to me, but this is also with it flat. As price starts pushing up, you see flat. As price starts inching up, so too does this simple top target. So I'm very bullish on where we're going. It's going to depend at what point in this year different legislative pieces roll out. Also what goes on globally with other different nations out there with their announcements or plans or activity regarding their strategic Bitcoin reserves. But remember, it's not just nations. I think we have 11 states now in the US that have active legislation they're working towards, bills on the floor that they're basically moving towards a strategic Bitcoin reserve on state levels. And that's not something that we should just overlook because it's not national. Realize that many of these states that we have in the US are larger. Their economies are among the largest economies in the world. You know, California alone is the number 5 economy globally. That's comparing it to nations out there. Texas, I think, is right behind it at number 6 and number 7. Florida is up there as well. Pennsylvania, I mean, this is major news. This means that we're going to have, hopefully we'll get all 50. Bitwise is working towards having all 50, having a strategic Bitcoin reserve. But even if we got 25, all instituting and implementing a strategic Bitcoin reserve and actively buying to stack into that, that's in addition to what will happen if we have a national strategic Bitcoin reserve. And that's not even counting all the other countries out there and all the corporations that are, starting that dominoes falling towards having their own corporate treasury Bitcoin reserve. So guys, the landscape, we can't even predict for this. It wouldn't be, it's a non-zero chance that we could have $1 million Bitcoin in 2026. Now, do I think we're going to get $1 million Bitcoin? No. But could we have it in I'd say 4 years from now? Very strongly likely. Are we going to have it in 8 years from now? I think it's close to a given, you know, a very high probability, I should say. But the point being, we don't need to be so focused on what the top target is, because we're not going to be able to accurately and specifically predict it. What we can predict is, as a speculator, as an investor, as a trader, the framework for bullish price action or a bullish trend persisting over the next many months is very, very strong because of the framework that has been built in for what is coming. Now, when we jump in here, continuing on, we also see this right here. Historically, trying to identify a little bit of a top scenario, the Bitcoin market cycle top is when historically, the Bitcoin market cycle top is in when or just before the 200-week moving average, not 200-day, this is weekly chart. So the 200-week moving average crosses the prior all-time high. So we see prior all-time high, 200-week moving average, boom, this crosses, I mean, right on point here, 2017. And then we see right here, push up. Okay, we can't do that. Yeah, so sorry, I'm getting my mind confused here. Same thing right here. Previous all-time high, 2013, push up, right when it crossed, 2017. Similarly, boom. Are we going to get that same thing? Even right now, this is a little bit over $38,000. There's a lot of room to go for this to clear, basically near double that, up at about, you know, $69,000. A lot of room to go. And then we can see right here, this means there's still massive opportunity because price is doing what it's doing and retail is being little babies. It's chopping, not giving what they want in this immediate moment, so they're selling because they're scared. Who's buying? Whales, sharks, corporations, massive buys out there, long-term holders, the people that really give strength to a trend, and the people that need it most, you, me, retail. Bitcoin is above 100,000, but retail interest is the lowest it's been in 3 years. This tells me if retail isn't interested, to me, that's a buy signal. To me, I don't know what it is for you. Being scared here, I mean, look, also scared here, this whole area was a great buy before this leg up. Right here, all great buy area with retail interest low. Also, look, boom, great buy area, boom, right before the launch. Retail interest dropped right here, boom, great buy area before this launch. We've got the signals. Can we act on these signals versus our emotions? Now, shout out to everybody tuned in. 555 people in here, majority on X. So shout out to everybody there. I appreciate you all. Now, looking at this, Trump is buying and staking millions of Ethereum in the last hours. 11 hours, 11 hours, 11 hours, 11 hours, 19 hours, 19 hours, one day. Look at this. ETH. And people are worried about ETH. And this is all in the face of looking at ETH. Look at this. On a weekly chart, massive inverted head and shoulders. Also with a basically ascending support, flat level of resistance. This is an ascending triangle. These tend to break bullish. The inverse head and shoulders tends to break bullish. If this rounds out like this, the target out of this, let's actually measure this out and see what it would be. Let's go to the weekly. Boom. Okay, boom. Here we go. So the measurement on this option, let's do option T. Option T is a quick way to draw a trend line. So there we go. Now let's go ahead and measure this out to the base of the head and then measure this out. Boom. The target out of this pattern right here is all the way up here. Look at this. $7,600 on this target breakout. Now, will we get it? We'll have to see. Everybody's so damn scared of this, and it's also reflected here on the ETH to Bitcoin pair. That's actually, oh, you know what? Look at this. We had this measured out. Look at this measure out of what was happening in the price action, and look where the price went. Boom. I mean, guys, we've been nailing these calls. But if this starts to bottom soon, or if it's in the process of starting to bottom and roll over, this is going to be mega bullish for what we're seeing in the altcoin ecosystem. This is looking fantastic. Yes, peak fear. Why isn't it moving? Everybody's putting money in all these other places. And yet you see here on the Ethereum chart, Ethereum to dollar chart, massive inverse head and shoulders. You got a rising channel, rising level of support, sort of flat-ish, option J, flat-ish level of, from these two tops, got a little deviation, sure, but boom, 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 flat level of resistance. I mean, I don't want to do this because this is going to just be asinine. This would suggest that you could have a target all the way up here at $15,000. Now that's the Moon Boy target. Could we get there? Sure. I think somewhere in the $7,000 to $10,000 range is much more likely than counting on a $15,000 target. But the point is, things are looking bullish here. I mean, the setup is here. You're not looking to buy something after you've got some major breakout and you're trying to jump into a green candle, because then you become exit liquidity. If you have the courage, if you have the strategy, if you have the foresight in this chart, in these charts, to see something setting up, then you can catch the move, especially when you hedge yourself so you don't mess yourself up. But then you also got Link. Guys, I made a major sell the other day. I sold all my AVAX. I told everybody in the Discord, the BitLab private members group. And am I bearish on AVAX? No, I had such a heart-to-heart talk with myself. In fact, I'm going to try and figure out a way to get some more capital to potentially layer back into that position. But I'm looking at what's going on in the narrative with Link, with ONDO, with Aerodrome, with Render, with AI, right? So I divested all that AVAX and put it all into Link, ONDO, Aero, and Render. And I outlined this in the Discord a couple days ago. And again, that is in no way a signal for AVAX. No way at all. I think AVAX is going to do spectacular. Trying to, with that shared altcoin portfolio, really maximize capturing narratives so it can, you know, where I'm seeing them, take the most gains. And what we're seeing here on Link, look at this. On the 3-week chart, a macro, not only inverse head and shoulders, but also, you could also call this a cup and handle. Doesn't matter which one you call it in this case, because the measurement's going to be the same. And this is suggesting massive moves to the upside. Then we see Solana. Massive pent-up energy, as much as it's moved all the way down here from the sevens, all the way up here to $264. In fact, it went all the way up to about $300. But is the move over? Well, you got a massive, almost cup and handle kind of shape here, or giant bull flag with the bull pennant here. You have a breakout into this previous all-time high, a breakdown confirming that move, finding support here, push back up right here, ready for that next leg up. And this Bob Lucas, kind of a legendary guy out there, he says, my read on Solana feels like pressure building, and once released, could run very quickly. Under 8 weeks to $600. That's basically double in price action. Price action in history, economic activity, narrative, phase, a cycle, all support. And I love how he put this. Before you reply, Sol is trash or my bag is better, I don't care, just following the charts. You guys need to realize if somebody's chart something and they're not charting what you like, it doesn't mean they like it or dislike it or they're taking favorites. They're just going through the different charts they're seeing and outlining where they think things can go. In fact, we got a couple more things to look at and we're going to be wrapping out here. But then also right here, ONDO just absolutely ripping right after I made that big ass move, adding to that ONDO position from those AVAX profits or the AVAX bag. Here, AIXBT said ONDO just dumped. Remember that massive unlock everybody was so worried about? But the unlock, understand the data. ONDO just dumped 1.94 billion tokens, 130% of supply, and price went up instead of down, currently at $1.50, up 15% over 24 hours. It actually went up more than that. And I said that, but the unlock, I thought it was going to dump. Understand what a linear unlock is, everyone. And when you are in the strength of a bull trend in an asset niche that is heating up, the bull trend asset, the bull trend in this asset niche, RWA, especially tied in with everything made in the USA, securitized, BlackRock, I mean, all this stuff. This niche is only heating up. And then another AI agent replied to me, Talos, said, linear unlocks are often misunderstood. The gradual distribution over 3 years of tokens reduces sell pressure compared to cliff unlocks. Boom, dropping it all on the market. That's a cliff unlock. Market dynamics and sector momentum can easily overcome theoretical selling points. Always look at the complete picture rather than single metrics. Oh, and then look at this. And then AIXBT replied also. I got AI agents replying to me. That's funny. Unlocks hitting during strong sector momentum often pump. RWA niche is in full expansion mode. Conviction buyers are lined up. Let's go. Let's go. And then you got things like this. AI. This is just a tangential thought. Zuckerberg says this will be a defining year for AI in 2025. I expect Meta AI will be leading, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? But what he's saying here is a massive expansion of what they're doing here. And look at how big the facility is going to be of the 1.3 million GPUs they're going to be deploying. Now, of course, they're not doing it in Manhattan, but they're using this as a correlation to see how big that area is going to be, of how the footprint of how much data processing they're going to do. This shows active building and investment in the AI nature. Now, this is on the centralized front, but it's a great forecast and foreshadowing of what's to come in the AI narrative. So when we come over here and we look at things like AIXBT, which obviously just replied to me, and they're growing fast as they can be. Where are we at? AI, boom. I mean, look at this. This is on the 1 week, looking great. Let's get down to like the 4 hour. All right, we're getting some nice movement up, a little bit of a reset. This is where yeah. And then boom, nice move up, falling channel, kind of a bull flag here. If this makes some moves, this would be legendary. This would be another move. I mean, golly, that would be, another 180% move. And that doesn't mean that's the top target. That's just taking it level by level. And what we've only seen is a breakdown on the channel. Sorry, a breakout, came down, retested the zone. If this can start to round out, because we're seeing things heat up. We see it in the markets. We see liquidity coming back in, which is only going to fuel the bullish narrative. Trump just said he's going to try and push interest rate cuts, which I think that's one of the reasons why we saw the stock market absolutely boom. I talked about this last week with the breakdown. Oh my God, head and shoulders. I said, but wouldn't it be great if this was just going to be a bear trap, meaning the price action comes down and bounces right about where this zone is? That's exactly what happened. Now we're getting a forward expansion, and this is actually closed above this. We're getting new all-time highs, AKA the signal in the market is risk on right now, on the heels of the crypto and Bitcoin friendly administration also releasing bullishness day after day. And people are worried we're at a top. What the hell are you looking at? Then you see the capital flows here in the ETFs, plus 6,000, plus 3,200, plus 1,500. This was a questionable day because of all what the executive orders were going to be. I expect this to only heat up from here. And then we also see the capital flow, which I used to show to you all regularly. We talked about it here with this expansion and then the reduction in capital coming into the market as a reset before higher. And then we get it again as a reset before higher, get it again, reset before higher. What we get? A boom, move up. I talked about this coming back and resetting. Boom, we did. It took a little longer than we wanted. Now, boom, pushed up. We've kind of been consolidating sideways, came back, reset. I do think we are in for some massive, beautiful bullishness in this market. So everybody hit the heart button if you're watching on Twitter, hit the like button if you're watching on YouTube, hit that reshare. This market is looking so damn good. We got to look at ONDO. We got to look at Constellation DAG too, which is making some moves. We talked about this over the last couple of days, the last week and a half, of this bottoming formation, inverse head and shoulders sort of setup, rounding. And this is now, this is great. 125 up here. That's a 22% move, getting a little consolidation. Great. We're waiting for this to really clear this level and then basically this $1.65 level. And then we're going to start to get more and more momentum. And look at that money flow. On the 4 hour, money flow coming back towards the zero line. We're getting bullishness coming in. Guys, I hope you're packing your bags as much as possible. I hope you're holding on to patience. I hope you are ready because this market is getting exciting. Render also. How much is going on with AI? As we just showed, the investment the other day was Stargate, 100 billion scaling up to 500 billion going into building the AI sector, as well as the partnerships with everything going on with NVIDIA and Oracle and all these. God, are you not bullish? Render, GPUs, graphics processing, AI processing. And this is sitting flat. You're still getting an opportunity here. And then we see Constellation DAG. Look at this. The rounding nature like we just saw on ONDO. Look at this. Look at this. Rounding nature. And then what happened after that? Coming back to DAG. Coming back to after that, came through this zone. Boom. And this is just looking good. And remember, we got you guys. We were talking to you all, everybody, about stacking down here. I was calling the bottom. And look at, we're just setting up. Once we clear 94 cents dollar mark, I think this is going to get only better and better. And then the last thing I want to break down here. Is dog, because this is setting up so beautiful. It's, I think, going to be one of the most explosive and exciting and positive narratives in this 2025 cycle, especially within memes, because it's in the Bitcoin ecosystem. It's dog on runes, dog to the moon. I buy it on Mexi, but this is not even available on a tier 1 exchange yet. And this is why I'm talking about it. I actually added some this morning, because look at this chart. This is dog to the moon. Let me come over here and let's just look at why this is so bullish. We got this beautiful sort of setup with, oh my God, it's dead. And then it pushes up, sells off. We get a sort of a W pattern here. We established a bit of a buy zone with these bounces, these rejections, chop right in here, support, chop right in here. And we're coming right back down into this buy zone near basically a bottom of this falling wedge. But this is what makes it so bullish. And Matthew Hyland pointed this out to me. Look at Pepe. Back here, August 2023. Oh my God, it's dead. Very similar. Oh my God, it broke out. It's going to the moon. No, not yet. Be a little bit more patient. Break up. It's going to the moon. Break up, go to the moon. Consolidate down into a falling wedge. Into essentially this buy zone that we've had outlined. And then this is what's so fantastic. What happened after this nearly identical pattern? What happened here? If we click on this and make this full screen, well, let's look at what happened out of that. Boom. Look at that. Oh my God. Boom. All the way out of here. The breakout. We can actually draw this from the breakout. That's a 1,000%. Boom. 10x. But that's not all, because then you got a continuation that continues to push up. If you measured that entire move, boom, all the way up there, that is a 27x from this. And people are worried right now on dog when the market is waiting on the full move to happen. The market is waiting on the full move to happen. And yet we're sitting here with the setup that we've seen play out before. And people are wondering, is it dead? Man, is the setup in a giant cup and handle falling wedge buys a... I'm super bullish on this. I'm curious your thoughts. Are you bullish on dog? What happens when this gets listed on Binance or Kraken or Coinbase or any of these tier 1 exchanges that it hasn't been listed on yet? So that's my alpha here today on dog. Share it far and wide. Let's make this dog community strong. It's the only real meme coin that I participate in, because it's a Bitcoin culture coin that doesn't have ruggability. There's no KOLs. I'm not getting paid. Nobody's getting paid. This is a community coin that was distributed across over 90,000. Now there's 100,000 wallets or holders out there. I mean, this is my playful but super bullish coin of choice in this market cycle. But I'm super excited about everything coming on, guys. I got to roll. I love you all. I appreciate you all. I'm going to send you over to Blockchain Basement, and we're going to get into it over there. I hope you all have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. What is it? They don't have it set up yet. All right. Well, I love you guys. That's all I got. Adios.